Well, welcome back to the Cart Barn podcast. This is the Christmas Day edition. Greg, how's everything going in your world?
It's good. I hope everybody woke up Christmas morning with Pro Vs in their stockings and all the latest golf gear under the tree. If not, sorry for you. But it's always a great time of the year. Uh,
It
Give with
is.
family.
Have you got a lot of golf stuff on the wish list?
No, I prefer getting my own golf stuff. I kind of hate it when people try to guess what I want because I've got pretty much everything I need. So it's just I'm tough to buy for when it comes to golf, and I don't need shirts, I don't need caps, stuff like that. So, but anyway, how about you? You
Eh, there's always room in the closet for more golf balls and gloves and the staples.
Yeah, you can never have too many golf gloves, I guess.
No.
As straight as you hit it, you don't ever lose any golf balls. So,
Yeah, it's real straight and it's real short. I can hear it land.
what uh, what clubs have you got in your bag right now?
Oh, I am playing a Callaway driver, um, back and forth between the AI Smoke Triple Diamond Max and the Paradigm Triple Diamond. I have a Callaway Flash 3 wood. I have a 21-degree hybrid, and I have Ping irons. These are 2015 models, I do believe. They're Ping I, just the I. And then I've got some Callaway wedges and a Scotty putter.
How often do you change wedges or putter or driver?
And, well, when I get my driver kind of dialed in, I usually change about every 2 years on drivers. I go through a couple sets of wedges a year, and obviously irons I don't change very often.
Obviously, I've got I've got underwear older than your irons though. So, uh,
Well, that's information that we really didn't need on the podcast, but
um, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I don't shop a lot for clothes, but like I've got a PXG driver. It's 2 years old. Got a Wilson 3 wood, a sub 70 19 hybrid, a TaylorMade 4 hybrid, staff Wilson D7 forged irons. Um, got a Wilson staff wedge, it's 56, and I got a Louisville 60-degree wedge that I don't use a whole lot, and I've got a Odyssey 2 ball putter. But it's I'll see something that I want to try, and I'll like the sub 70. I heard good things about sub 70 clubs, and
yeah.
they had the 3 hybrid on sale one time, so I just bought it and liked it. Um, but I am thinking about putting a 5 wood in the bag and maybe taking that out in 2025. We'll see.
Yeah.
Do you care? Do you have a certain brand of ball you've got to play? Do you play Pro V's or TaylorMade's?
So that's an interesting question. I'm I'm a Titleist guy, although I really do like that Chrome Tour. I like both the regular Tour and the X. Um, those are the two balls or that's the ball that I continue to experiment with. But day in and day out, I am a Pro V left dash guy.
I and again, I'm all over the map. I go to a lot of places and I get like a lot of balls on some of these trips, and so I mean I run the gamut from TaylorMade to Titleist to Wilson to um, Encore. There's some good direct to consumer brands out there that are pretty good. And I really don't notice. I can tell occasionally a difference in the premium balls, but not a lot.
Well, yeah, there's some places, some companies that have done some independent studies. Well, I'll go, My Golf Spy. I don't know if you've ever spent much time on there, but pretty interesting stuff. But my personal opinion about golf balls and switch all of the premium balls are all good balls. It doesn't matter if it's a Titleist, the Callaway, the TaylorMade ball is a good ball. Strixon's a really good ball. The thing that I believe is that switching back and forth, how do I say that? There's just I think some inconsistencies. They're going to spin a little bit different. It's not going to matter so much off the tee, as far as especially higher handicappers. But putting, and chipping and putting, to me, there's a big difference there. It's not that you can't get used to one ball or the other, but when you're switching back and forth, to me, it just seems like that there's the tendency for there to be some differences. One may spin just a little bit more. A softer ball can affect your speed control on the greens. At least that's how I see it, and kind of how I feel about it. But
I agree. I think for me, it's all mostly the chipping is where I see the biggest difference in balls. But I think the better players are the ones that kind of need that consistency in their ball striking. I think if you're a 15, 18, 20, 25 handicapper, I'm not sure that's the biggest need in your game at that point is to figure out, which ball to use. I think it's more
yeah,
mechanics.
I would agree with that, Greg. I guess what I was trying to say is I think that regardless of your handicap, picking a ball and playing that ball, and back and forth between, playing whatever you find and whatever you happen to pull out that day, I don't think lends itself to improved scores, because they're all different.
Yeah. What I have in the past several years, I've decided you're walking alongside the lake that you've just hit it in, looking for your ball, and you see one out there. I tend now more to leave those balls in the lake than pull them out. I think like you said, My Golf Spy has done a lot of testing on balls in the water, refurbished balls that really are not very consistent at all. And
No, they're not. I mean, that's
but
okay.
it is kind of fun to go off in the woods looking for your ball and come back with 4 Pro Vs or 3 Pro Vs and two TaylorMades or something like that. I get some practice at that, as you can tell.
Yeah.
And then you go to one of these high dollar courses, and you walk in and you find a honey hole like that, and you end up with, 3 Nitros and a TaylorMade from 2000, a Top Flight from 2004, or a Strata. That's disappointing. People playing high dollar courses should play the high dollar balls. That's my opinion. So that when I find them, I come out there feeling like I've gotten something.
I hear you. Well, we talked about this episode being released on Christmas morning, and I'm sure everyone's looking to see what Santa brought them, and have got meals planned with family and friends and that kind of thing. So rather than having a guest today, you and I decided that we just kind of talk a little bit about golf and what we've done this year on the podcast. We've published, this I think will be the 16th episode. We've had a lot of really good guests. We started out in September with Stuart Sink, and then Coach Clenard from Auburn, Lee Hodges, and then we had a really big episode with Elvis Larkin and Charlie Crinkle, Sam Farlow, and then we had Stuart again. You got any really good any thoughts or stories or memories about any of those that you want to talk about?
I think kind of one theme that kind of, and we've got this on some upcoming guests too, is that how a lot of the high level players that you think about, the Lee Hodges, the Stuart Sinks, uh, they didn't grow up at real like fancy country clubs with, great practice facilities or anything like that. How they just, kind of excelled at the game from humble beginnings, not anything real fancy schmancy, which kind of proved that, you can get to the PGA Tour from just about anywhere if you put in the work and the dedication to it. And then, talking to some of the older guys, Sam Farlow, and hearing those stories, Elvis and Charlie Krinkle. I mean, those are just gems to hear them talk golf from the, we call it the old days, which is the 70s and 80s and
Yeah.
the 90s. It's, for us, I guess it's the old days. For
Yeah.
younger listeners, it's probably ancient,
Well, yeah, I guess some of them probably look at it that way. Then we included Andy Priest, who at the time the executive director of the Alabama Golf Association. He's now taken that same position over in the Carolinas. Tad Moore, and then a young phenom by the name of Tyler Watts. Interesting story. Young man out of Huntsville,
one
and
of our more popular episodes.
was one of the most popular episodes. And then we had Buddy Gardner, and gosh, we're going to have Buddy on again because there's a lot of stories that we didn't even get to just from a time standpoint. But what a great podcast that was.
Yeah, I mean, his stories are epic, and I think he was telling the ones he can't tell
Yeah.
are probably even better. So he was great. I think you say, well, this is our 16th. That's 4 months where I don't remember one that I didn't enjoy doing where you got through in talking to somebody and said, man, that didn't go very well. I mean, everybody's been so generous with their time and willing to, share their stories.
Yeah. Well, just to kind of round out the rest of our initial lineup, we after Buddy, we had Connor Godsey, right as he was going into the second stage of Q school. Had Chad Parker on with Stewart. Then we had the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart, Don Shirey, and then this last week's episode was Jim Hartzell. Just really good stories and just really good people. We've been really fortunate and blessed, I think, Greg, in such a short amount of time to get the quality of people on our podcast, and we got a lot of really good stuff lined up. We've got a lot that we've already recorded that we haven't released yet.
Yeah, I think for me, when you and I started this, we wanted it to be about primarily golf in Alabama and getting people to tell their stories about golf in the state. And for me, the generosity of people willing to come on, and just how we'll have a guest on and he'll tell a story about somebody that we need to get on in the future because it's just kind of interwoven in the fabric of the game in the state. And I don't think a lot of people realize how deep golf has been in this state, given its comparative size to places like California or Florida or New York, where there's a multitude of the golfing per capita. There's more golfers in those states, and
Well, I mean, you just look at the population of the state. I mean, the Metro Atlanta has more people than the entire state of Alabama,
right.
and yet the quality of golf over a long period of time has been very strong. That's another thing I wanted us to touch on, is that in addition to the generosity of people that have come on the podcast, we've had a really warm reception and some really nice notes from people, either in text messages or on social media and direct messages and those kind of things, telling us how much they've enjoyed the podcast, how much they enjoy it. And that's evident by the numbers of followers and downloads that we're getting. And we've also been downloaded or listened to in 12 countries. I never would have imagined that when we started. I thought if we got out anything outside the state of Alabama, we'd be doing really well.
Yeah, that A shows the power of the internet, and
Yeah.
B the quality that we're getting interesting guests, and they've got a story to tell, and people are interested in those stories.
Anyway, it's been fun so far. You want to talk a little bit about what we've got coming up?
Yeah, I mean, we've like you mentioned, we've got several interviews already recorded with some really interesting people. We'll throw a few names out, and you can add to it. But we've got Gary Christian, who played professionally. He lives in Birmingham. He's been on the Golf Channel. He's commentator. He's going to be coming up. Kathy Hartwigger is like the queen of Alabama Golf Association Women's Championships.
Yeah.
We had a great conversation. She lives in Pinehurst now, so uh, we'll probably have to go up and see Kathy in Pinehurst. Just visit her, so she
Yeah.
can get us on some of those courses up there. That was primary the focus of getting her on. I'm joking, of course.
Yeah.
She was a great guest. She's coming up. Um, Gosh, Alabama's golf coach Jay Sewell. We've got him coming up. Um, Vanderbilt's golf coach Scott Limbaugh, who was from Childersburg. He's going to be people are going to want to listen to him and his stories about growing up at Coosa Pines
Yeah.
golf course in Childersburg and some of his buddies. So yeah, we've got a strong
Well,
lineup coming.
yeah, we do. I mean, just to kind of continue, you got Matt Terry, who's the golf coach at La Tech, someone that is a friend of mine and I've known a long time. And another good friend of mine is Dave Schreier, the golf coach at Huntingdon. Dave's got a lot of really good stories, and I'm looking forward to getting that episode out as well.
Yeah, if you're headed home after Christmas, got a little time in the car, don't turn on music. Turn on the Cart Barn podcast and go to some of our previous episodes because I think you'll enjoy them. The time will just fly by even when you stop in at Buc-ee's or somewhere. Listen, give them a listen because there are good stories, and I've enjoyed it more really than I thought I would. Getting to know people, you hear names of people and you don't really know them, and then you get them on as a guest, and you say, "Man, that guy was interesting," or he's done some great things, or got some great stories. So
Yeah. Well, thanks again for listening. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the Cart Barn Podcast.